Hello everyone, I hope everyone is having a great day. My name is Denny, I'm from PrestaShop Technical Support. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a local backup copy of your site so that way you could either make upgrades or fiddle with the site or do anything that you would like to do that you do not want to affect the production site. So before we actually begin the process, we are going to have a couple of prerequisites. Now, the first prerequisite that we are going to need is to set up your shop for export. Now, there's only a couple things we got to do here. Now, log on to the back office of your PrestaShop site that you would like to export. For example, the one that's online. If you see here, mine is PrestaShop-cloud.prestashopcodex.org. So what we are going to do here is go to the back office and then go to Preferences. From the Preferences menu, you're going to go to SEO and URLs. Go ahead and click on that section. Now this is going to bring us to our SEO and URL section. Now what we want to do here is before we export this site, we want to have friendly URLs turned off. And we also want to have redirect to canonical URL set to no redirection. Remember that this is very important, so we don't have any issues while we are installing the backup. So once we have set this, we could go ahead and click on save right over here, and it's just going to save our information. Okay, so once we have saved this, we could close this out. Now the next process from here would actually be to go to your site's directory and grab all your files and directories and zip them up. We are also going to need the export file, the SQL export file of your database. So as you can see, I have my two files right here. This file is a zip file that contains a copy of all the files and folders that are located on my online site. So as you can see here, we have our modules folder, the mails folder, and actually here, the back office, that's my admin folder, so I could log into the back office. I named mine's back office, but yours might be named something else. Before we also begin, we want to configure Apache on your local site. So if you're running WAMP, you're going to have Apache. Once you have set this up, you're going to go to the bottom right corner and you're going to see the Apache box here. You click on here, we have the menu, the WAMP menu. We are going to make sure that we have URL rewriting turned on, and this is so you could have friendly URLs. So for this, we go to Apache over here, and we go to the Apache modules. And here you have a long list of modules that are set up on your WAMP installation. So we're going to go to the bottom, and we're going to look for rewrite module. So if you look here by the R, you'll actually see it right here. Now on my installation, this has already been enabled, so I don't have to click on it. But if yours does not have a check next to it, be sure to click on it so it can have a check, and then after that be sure to restart all services on your WAMP, because if you do not restart all services, WAMP is actually not going to take that change into effect. So that's very important. So now that we have our two files, we have our PrestaShop zip folder where we have our PrestaShop files and folders, and we have our SQL file which ends in the extension SQL. This is our database backup. So now what we are going to do here is we're going to go over and head to our WAMP folder. So I have my WAMP folder actually in my C drive, and on the root of my C I have the WAMP folder here, and we're going to look for the www folder, which is also known as the web root folder. This is where all your sites or all your backups are actually going to be placed. So we'll make a folder for this backup site and we'll call it backup. Okay, pretty simple. So after we have our backup folder, we are going to open that up and we are going to transfer our zip folder into this file. Now there's two main ways you could go ahead and place all the files and folders that is inside the zip into our backup folder. We could either select all of them, copy and paste onto our backup, or we could just right click here and select extract all. we're going to select extract all. Now we don't want it to go into this folder. We actually made a folder called backup, so we'll just put it in the backup folder. And after that, we'll go ahead and click extract. Now once you go ahead and click that, it's going to take a couple of seconds or minutes depending on the size of your site and of course on your computer as well. So for that, we'll just leave that processing. Now the next thing, now that we have all of our files being transferred onto our local backup folder, we also want to make a backup of the database. So we're going to import this database into our local database. Now, since we don't actually have a database just yet, we are going to go and create one. So we'll go to localhost, we'll go to phpMyAdmin. Now, phpMyAdmin is the administration panel, so you could administrate all your databases that you have here. So what we are going to do is click on databases at the very top, and right here for create database, we're going to create our new database, which we want to hold the export that we created, and we'll call this one backup as well. We'll go ahead and click on create. Now once we have created this backup, if you click on the actual backup database, you'll notice that we have no tables at all, and that's because we have not imported our backup just yet. So to import our backup, what we'll do is go to the very top where we have the import option, and we'll click on this. Now on this page we don't have to configure anything, we'll leave everything just like how it is, and we'll click on choose file. Now once we click on the choose file, we're going to navigate to wherever we saved our database backup. You see here mine is actually on my desktop, so you just go to your desktop and click on your SQL file. Mine is right here, so we'll double click on this one. After you have set up your SQL file, we'll just go ahead and click on go so it could start importing the database. Now once again, keep in mind that the time for you to wait for this to be imported might vary depending on the size of your database and on your computer as well. But as you can see here, mine has just finished. So we'll get this message in the top, import has successfully finished. So we could actually close this out already, or that's fine, or we'll just actually minimize it. Once we import our database, we come back here to our backup folder, and we've noticed that all the files and folders are now inside of the backup. So to tell the actual installation to be able to connect with a database that we just created, we're going to go to the config folder right here, and we are going to open up the settings file. Now this settings file, you could open it with any text editor such as Notepad. We recommend you using Notepad++ if you're on Windows, or Sublime Text if you're on Mac, or anything like that, but any text editor will do fine. Once we open this, we have our settings. Now the very first line is asking us for the name of our server. If you're transferring this onto your local copy, we'll want this set to localhost. Now a lot of times if you just brought these files down from your server or from your online site, you might have something like MySQL, mysite.com, or something like this that designates the address of your database server. So for this, for local copy, we're actually going to switch it to localhost. The database name, it is no longer PrestaShop_dev. As you noticed here, we have called it backup. So we're actually going to name that backup. We'll change the name, and the database name is now backup. Now for the database user, I have my local installation set to root, and I have no password for my Apache installation. So remember, on your installation you might have set up a password. This is where you would type in your password. Password goes here, but I have none on mine, so I'll erase that. Now the database prefix is what you set up when you first installed your PrestaShop. I did not change my prefix, so my prefix is still set to PS_, as you could see here from the PHP MyAdmin prefix. You see that all of them are PS_. So we'll leave that fine, and after that all we have to do is just click on save. So we'll go to File and click Save. we could also close this window out. Just make sure that this settings right here coincide with your database. So now that we have set up our backup files and folders to connect to our database, and we have also imported our database, we are going to log on to our site. So we'll open up a web browser, open up a new tab, and we're going to browse to our site, which is localhost, and we put our localhost inside of the folder called backup. Now to reach the, actually I'll show you this first. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So to get to the back office, we're going to browse to the folder and also to the back office folder. For mine, I have named it back office, as you can see here. Remember that this was changed in the initial install of PrestaShop, so yours can be something else, maybe like administration. But I have named mine to back office. So we'll go here and go to backup, and we'll go to back office and click enter. Now once you see the back office login, you might see this actually broken, and the reason for this is because if you could see here, it's still referring back to the old installation location. So what we have to do is just tell PrestaShop that we want it to run off the new URL. So we'll try logging in here. Okay, and as you can see, I tried to log on and it's just not letting me log in. Now, a lot of times, depending on your settings, you might be able to log in, and we'll continue from there. If by any chance, just like me, you are not able to log in from this page, we have to manually input this in our phpMyAdmin to switch the URL. So what we do is, we go here back to phpMyAdmin, we go to your database, and we are going to look for the table called shop URL. So with a prefix, of course, so we'll go ps shop. Okay, and we have it here. So we found it here, ps underscore shop underscore URL. We'll click on this. Now, it is very important to have your domain listed as localhost, as the domain of the WAMP server installation is localhost. The domain SSL is going to be the same thing, localhost, and the physical URI. Now, the physical URI, since this is our web root, and we created our backup folder, this is actually our physical URI. So we'll go ahead and advise phpMyAdmin, and we'll put it here. So we erase this and put backup. Okay, perfect. So now that we have this table set up, we could actually go back into our page right here in the back office, and we could actually delete this section right after our back office name. Click enter again. If you notice, now we do have our login page with all the styling. So once you have this page here, we could actually go to type in our username and password. And now this should let you log on to your back office. And we'll just click save. Now, as you can see, now we are running a local copy of your website. Now, another very important thing before we finish, we do want to regenerate the htaccess file, which is going to give us all the correct links to our images and stuff like that, so you don't have any broken images or anything like that. So one thing you want to do is you go to Preferences, you go to CEO and URLs, like that right here. Now once we are at this section, we just want to go to the bottom, and there's a couple things we want to look for. Now, if you have, before you exported your production site, we also advise you to please turn off friendly URLs set to no, and also redirect to canonical URL set to no redirection. So you should not have to actually toggle on between yes and no to regenerate them. All you would have to do at this moment is click yes for friendly URLs, and here you could set this to whatever you'd like at this moment. I'll just leave mine to no redirection for canonical URLs. We're going to go ahead and click on save. Okay, now sometimes we do get this message, but this has to do with the search SEO, but actually if we refresh the page, usually that message does disappear, as you can see. Okay, so now we'll check the front office and just make sure that everything is intact, and we do in fact have a successful copy, a local successful copy of our site. So if you look here, we have all of our images, they're all intact, we have all of our menu system, and it is all running off the local host backup. So this is pretty much all we would need to create an exact copy of the site. Thank you. If you guys have any questions or concerns, just be sure to send us a message, and you enjoy the rest of your day.